Hey guys, we're doing something a little different with our Arcane Assist bonus content this week. I'm joined by John and Evan today. Hey John, how's it going?
Not bad, Tim. How are you doing?
And Evan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Paying a bronze back here.
And I'm doing great. We're showing you a 2x speed version of a game that we left a camera recording at a Kingston tournament we were at a couple of weeks ago. So we're playing at Kingston Gaming Nexus, and this is a game that you can see myself featured on the left, playing against Adam, who's one of my favorite people, local Kingston player, really spectacular dude. Just going to give a quick shout out to what the lists that we're playing here are. Evan and I did a little bit of a caster swap for this tournament this weekend. So I'm playing Evan's tournament list for the Ontario Team Championship.
You mean everyone did a caster swap? Because I'm playing
Sure.
your list.
Yeah, to be fair, at this tournament, we did a three-way caster swap. John is playing my circle, Evan is playing John's trolls, and I am playing Evan's Skorne.
Yeah.
So you can see that I have Evan's Ontario Team Championship list in front of me here. And I'm playing Zaadesh with a Bronzeback, Double Gladiator, Tiberian, a max unit of Paingiver Beast Handlers, a minimum unit of Paingiver Beast Handlers, and a Sentry, Titan Sentry. So there's a lot of really cool things in this list that hopefully I'll have the opportunity to talk about and showcase during this matchup. John, do you want to talk about what is in Adam's list?
Yeah, sure, no problem. He's playing a Fyanna. He has a Seraph, Typhon, Proteus, Night Looker, a Nerif. That's a battle group. He has 2 Shepherds, 2 Forsakens, a Spar Martyr, and a full unit of Swordsmen.
So he's got the Swordsman there, obviously, I think, to put Fury on. They're Legion's kind of Weapon Master Infantry, which I think is a good use for them.
Yeah, but they become POW 14 with Fury.
Yeah. And
Weapon Masters. So
Mat 7, I
Mat
believe,
7,
too, so.
speed 6. So they can get up the board pretty quick and hit pretty hard.
Yep. Yeah, they don't have Pathfinders, so there's going to be some interesting unpacking. You'll see the terrain defined on the board here, but we're looking at a trench on the bottom, and then we've got a water feature on the top right corner, and then a couple of forests in fairly relevant positions in the zone, and then I've got 2 walls.
And like a building in the top left, which really probably doesn't play much in this game.
It affected my deployment a bit. I unpacked a little bit differently than I normally would have.
Okay.
So I think it's interesting. So Evan, this is your list. This is a list you've played quite a bit.
Yes.
And we had a brief conversation about how to actually play it before we started. You'll probably have lots of interesting comments on how I actually play the list during the game. But any thoughts about the matchup?
So I've played Zaadesh2 versus Fyanna a couple of times. We have a player in our local meta who's basically been going hard and playing her over and over again since she came out, just like I've been doing with Zaadesh. And he plays really well into her, assuming that on the feat turn you don't miss too many boosted attacks, which needing most of the time 8s to hit because across the board with Titans you're more or less mat 8, and a lot of her stuff will go up to def 16, 17, and you'll need like boosted 9s, 8s to hit. But the key is you hit really hard, and you only need to hit a couple times in order to do enough damage that things are crippled or dead. And with her feat, she still has to pay very close attention to where she's dodging. She can't just dodge out of your melee like she can with most lists, because you can just countercharge off of her dodge.
Yeah, it's pretty clutch. I mean, the math you're talking about there assumes that you get to counter feat on her feet, but I think that's pretty reasonable.
Right.
Just to talk a little bit about what Adam's doing, you can see Proteus up top there, holding a fairly central position. He's also put his Seraph in the water at the top. He's got Typhon with Admonition, and then he's got a Nerif just in front of his Swordsman, who deployed fairly centrally. Fyanna's in the trench, and she's got her support there as well. I think this is pretty smart. He's threatening both zones really well. He's got an Admonition Typhon, which is a really, really challenging piece to dislodge in the zone that I probably want to spend more time in because of how opportunistically placed that forest is. So that's the zone that I want to dominate, and he's kind of denied me that opportunity. So I'm just I run the Bronzeback up first. The Bronzeback is obviously my base countercharge piece that I don't need the upkeep spell for, so putting him pretty centrally makes a lot of sense in this list to me. The Gladiator cast Rush and just walked up, removing a Fury because of the Bronzeback's affinity. The Sentry ran straight up the board with Rush and removed a Fury because of the Bronzeback's... sorry, it's not affinity, it's leadership. That's a really key piece of Fury management in this list, is that within that 7-inch bubble of the Bronzeback, anything that is a Titan gets to remove a point of Fury.
Basically anything but the Agonizer.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I think it's one of the things that I like the most about Evan's list construction is it just has so much incidental Fury management available to it. I've heard tell that maybe minning one of the units of Beast Handlers and turning them into a unit of Gobbers would have made a lot of sense for this list.
Yeah, maybe it's just a personal issue that I have, but I don't like Gobbers. It's just me.
And I mean, it's also worth pointing out that the Beast Handlers on the feat turn at Mat 7 can do some really good anatomical precision work.
Yes.
Like, reach anatomical precision Mat 7. That seems like a good offensive unit.
Yeah.
And they are that on
Yeah.
feat turn.
They sure take out Sentinels like on demand.
Yeah. It's like it's their job.
Yeah.
And not to mention that they get that particular effect as a defensive strike as well.
Yep.
Which can be quite punitive.
Thing they also get on defensive strikes: inflict pain.
Yeah, inflict pain, so they can, a War Beast charges, and you're like, oh, did you charge into the melee of 2 Beast Handlers? I guess you're half full on Fury now.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm running them into position this turn. I don't need to do a lot in terms of Fury management with them, so they're just getting into spots where they can prod well. Have prod.
So going into this matchup, not playing Evan's list. Quick 5-minute rundown you had on it or something like that. Well, let's just be honest. Probably a 2-hour car ride rundown.
Yeah. No, we had a good car ride to Kingston. It's,
so
we chatted about all the lists.
How do you feel playing Skorne? I know you've done it before, but like, how do you feel coming back and playing?
Well, I've played Skorne a handful of times, mostly for the channel, and I mean, I played a little bit of Skorne in Mark II, so I've got a bit of experience with them, and I've got some knowledge about the changes to Skorne, and I know their rules well, and I've played against them a fair bit. But I don't have a ton of tabletop experience with them, so the motions are a little bit unfamiliar. And this is the round 1 of the tournament. So this is the first time I've really, unpacked the Zaadesh list to give it a real whirl. But I've played a lot of Legion, and I've played against a lot of Legion.
Yeah.
I know Legion quite well. So I feel confident that in my knowledge of Adam's list, that I can at least assess his threat well.
Okay. So like, he deployed his swordsman up the middle of the board, but I find like his swordsmen, they don't have pathfinders, so like they have to funnel through a forest and a wall and a forest and a wall. So I feel like he doesn't have that many targets with a lot of them. Like that's what it looks like right now.
I think it makes a lot of sense to imagine the board as a series of cones, and like each cone is a target and then the distance by which things could charge it. So he's kind of put his swordsman in 2 separate cones, one on the left side of that wall, one on the right side of the wall. And both of them funnel into Tiberian and the Bronzeback fairly effectively.
Yeah.
So I think he's threatening the right things. He moves up with that Seraph, takes some shots. There's a lot of shield guards in this list. And, I mean, Tiberian's a shield guard. The Sentry's a shield guard. Zaadesh himself has Sackpawn Warbeast.
Yes,
So-
you're not afraid from shooting this list. Like
No.
Evan drops this into shooting all day long and
Yeah.
walks up the table and just laughs.
Well, and the ability to put down a cloud wall against non-Legion armies is also pretty relevant, which Zaadesh has access to.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, or maybe even you wouldn't, but Sackpawn for your caster is ridiculously good, as any Cephalix player will tell you.
And their casters are actually squishy.
Yeah, Zaadesh isn't. It's a prime example of read your opponent's cards, because I've had so many times where people go, oh, you've put your caster way out in the open, I'm just gonna shoot him to death, and then they do a bunch of setup and then start to shoot me, and I'm like, okay,
Sackpawn.
I sackpawn the first shot,
To the Titan!
All right,
and they're like,
sorry, before, not to cut you off, Evan, but I just wanted to point out a relevant thing happening in the video here. So I
good.
do have the countercharge animus up, so I actually countercharge the first guy who charged the Bronzeback with Zaadesh. So Zaadesh moves up, charges the guy who charged the bronze back, and does some good damage to him. I should probably have pointed out that I did put up Inviolable Resolve and Battle Charged.
Well, I'm pretty sure Battle Charge is going to be up all the game. If you don't have that up, I'm pretty sure it's like...
Not necessarily. I mean, there's times when you want Inviolable Resolve on your caster, so you cycle it over, or where you need to do a bit more work. I do get the counter charge with the bronze back. The thing that I really love about this is, Evans out-threats me, or pardon me, not Evan. Adam out-threats me with his pieces. Like, his swordsman charge really, really far, but if he doesn't engage all of my stuff at once, I have the ability to just peel off a couple of them. Like, here's a sentry countercharging against a swordsman now, and the sentry doesn't hit, but I've changed the positioning of my pieces, like gotten just a little bit of threat extension.
Well, you're farther up the table now, right? Like,
Yeah.
So,
And every single one of them that I do hit, I remove. That's one less Furied Weapon Master attack against my battle group. Like, that's huge. So we've got, as I said, Adam has Fury on the Swordsman, and he has Admonition on Typhon. So he's getting some Furied Swordsman charges, and he's getting a few on the Sentry too. The way I position the Sentry, he's still getting the shield bonus on that particular attack. And then the leader model of the Swordsman is running to be in position, and the rest of them are just kind of running up to screen.
yeah, basically when you have counter charge up, whenever I play against someone that has counter charge, you have to play around it. I feel like you need to figure out how to engage as many models as possible, so he has to counter charge with something outside of that engagement.
Yeah, and I mean, just trying to tie pieces up is I mean, I think one of the cagier parts of the matchup.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I play Broker too, counter charges on him, and
Yep.
I feel like I always have it up, but as soon as they engage me, it is the first thing that comes down because there's no point having it.
Sure. Yeah, I like the battle charge in Zaadesh just as a threat extender for Skorne beasts who are used to taking the hit. It's pretty powerful. So he's got the targets that he's actually charged here. He's charged the Sentry, he's charged Tiberian, and he's got a charge on the bronze back. And all three of those beasts are armor 21.
POW 14, so dice off 7.
But he's under an Agonizer aura.
Okay, dice off 9.
Dice off 9. So he does a little bit of damage to all of those pieces, but not a ton.
11, so
like
11, so average is 11. What master? No, average is
14.
14, so off 9's 5. Got 3 or 4 on you, maybe? Looks like 3.
He's got it's really just like 1 on each.
Yeah, so maybe 5 damage if
Yeah.
he's lucky to each war
So,
piece.
Yeah,
Which
spreading
then-
that damage out is really nice for me. I mean, it's kind of, I think, the right move. Like, he sort of just has to do it. It's what he's got in his list for armor cracking, but then he's got it backed up by some really frightening heavies.
But then again, though, like he needs to jam you out because, like, I feel like he needs to set a line of engagement so he can try to get scenario first.
Yeah, I mean, he's going second, which means he's positioned to do that. It's a little bit tricky to actually make it happen. He does, at this point, charge with the Furied Nerif, or pardon me, the non-Furied Nerif, the Nerif, who went in and got a fair bit of work done on the bronze back, but he's trying to see if he can get some more damage in on the bronze back with sprays. So he's taking a spray attack. Unfortunately, this spray attack is going to hit
Swordsman
The Nerif?
Swordsman
and the Nerif. Wow.
This is one of the situations where Adam has now committed enough resources to killing that bronze back that he kind of needs to finish it. So he's forced to commit to some Typhon sprays that maybe aren't the best. And Typhon rolls real hot to hit the Swordsman and murders the Swordsman, which is great for me. Second shot, he hits and does pretty reasonable damage to the bronze back. Manages to miss his own Nerif again, which is good. Defense 12 in the back.
So, Tim, you're committed pretty hard to this top zone. So what happens if Adam just decides to pick off the beast handlers in the bottom and just swing down low and try to just score some points early and just throw some stuff in the top zone to contest?
No, that's a relevant thought. It's kind of scary. In some ways, I've got a gladiator who's down there who can kind of be contesting, and my hope is that bottom zone is much easier to contest just because of where the forest is positioned. and how I can stay completely behind the forest. Typhon, who doesn't have Pathfinder, finds that a little bit obnoxious. Like it's difficult for him to really deal with that. And to be fair, he has also committed 2 heavies to the top zone. So, I mean, just in terms of his deployment, that was pretty much necessary. So he hits the sentry with Proteus. Proteus has drag, and the sentry can be pulled. Tiberian can't, but the sentry can. He has steady, but he doesn't have sturdy. So he pulls him in, and he does some more attacks to him. At this point, Proteus is attacking from outside of the Agonizer's range. So Proteus actually does pretty reasonable damage. He's, what is he, like 16, 18? Like he's got...
He's 14, 16.
14, 16.
Yep.
Oh. Sorry, but he feels a little bit better than that because his POW 14 attacks are chain weapons, so they get to ignore my shield.
Okay, so he's a 16, 16 then against you?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically a 16, 16. And he has 2 of the tentacle, or the talon attacks, should I say. So he did a little bit of work to that sentry, and that sentry had already taken 5 or 6 damage from a charging swordsman. So that sentry's pretty roughed up, but he did have to commit Proteus and the Nerif.
So with committing all this, it's definitely going to be a feat turn for Adam. Like, I feel like he needs the feat, so then you counter feat. Like, is that...
Yeah, that's the hope. I'm just looking at the board. I totally don't see his Naga. Did he forget to deploy it?
Yes.
Cool.
Huh, okay.
So Adam, unintentionally, I presume, playing some 8 odd points down. That's too bad. It's the nature sometimes of a busy tournament. Round 1, you suddenly forget some things. I feel a little bit bad, but I didn't notice that until right now. I moved the beast handlers a little deeper into the zone. Typhon admonitioned out to avoid getting, whipped for a point of fury.
Yeah.
So Typhon's still in the zone, but out of melee range with that beast handler. So now I've got an interesting turn ahead of me. Adam did feat this turn. So everything has +3 defense and dodge. If you've ever seen Fyanna before, she's pretty scary when she has access to dodge. So John, I know what my plan here was. Moved up those beast handlers, medicated, put myself in a position to prod a couple of the pieces that I thought maybe could charge, and enraged.
And feat before you activate any of the war beasts?
Yeah.
So
That's
I feel like Evan said, you got to counter feat, and this is basically what you need to do, and it works out best for you because then you need like boosted 8s to hit. And if you're hitting, you're doing damage because most of them are armor 15, 16, 18. Like
Nerifs are 16, Typhon's 17. Proteus is 18 with unyielding.
Typhon's 18.
Yeah, Typhon's 18.
Yeah.
Proteus is 18, but Proteus is unyielding on that chassis. So if he's not knocked down, he gets 2 extra points of armor.
Okay, so Proteus is the heaviest armor. So he's a 14, 20 right now.
Yeah, which is pretty scary.
Pretty scary.
The thing that I'm a little bit excited about here is I've got enough things. So first of all, Zaadesh moves up, pops his feet, and he casts Flashing Blade to clear out a couple of the swordsmen.
Tricky.
Zaadesh is mat 11 on those Flashing Blade attacks because he has flank with the war beasts, and they're each engaging war beasts or engaged by war beasts, and the feat gives him +2 mat. So my 7 goes to 9 because of flank, goes to 11, and I'm a weapon master against them again because of flank. So he's got some pretty good personal clearing power, and I'm in the zone. I dropped Battle Charge this turn so that I could camp an extra one, which means that I'm feated, and I cycle... No, sorry, I don't cycle Inviolable Resolve. I feel like camping 3 and having my feet up, I'm pretty safe.
I'm surprised you drop Battle
Charge?
Charged, to be honest, just in case anything dodges out. Or even if you wanted to get cute, you could clear out the beast in front of the bronze back, charge the admonitioned Typhon,
Yeah, and then
countercharge it. I suppose you can do that with the bronze back anyway, though.
Yep, yeah. My thought was that the bronze back was going to be my zone denial piece here, the thing that gave me access to countercharge, and I wanted to camp the 3 on Zaadesh. I knew that where I was positioned, I had to be pretty, like, relatively speaking, out in the open, and to dominate that zone, which I want to do to apply a lot of pressure this turn. Clearing this zone is probably ambitious. I'm hoping that Typhon can kill Proteus, and then maybe my sentry can go over there and kill that Seraph. but hindsight being 2020, I might be being too bold.
Typhon kill Proteus?
Or pardon me, Tiberian
There you
killed
go.
Proteus.
I was a little scared there.
Yeah. So Tiberian uses his initial attacks to kill a couple of the swordsmen. He even makes an attack at a swordsman over a wall, which is probably better than he should be able to do. But he's Mat 9.
Swordsman's defense is what, 1,700 feet?
Yeah. So I'm hoping to roll 8s to hit them. But these are sort of in air quotes free attacks. My Tetsubo is the only attack that has reach. I've already made that against Proteus, and I'm just making my non-reach attacks against the guys who happen to be nearby. So I'm just hoping for good rolls, and if they dodge, I'm hoping that it's not too inconvenient. So Tiberian does some pretty good work to the swordsmen who are there, but unfortunately he doesn't finish Proteus.
So that is a Nerf you just charged there?
Yeah, so the Gladiator charges into the Nerf.
Okay.
So Gladiator charges the Nerf, boosts to hit, and actually, unfortunately,
Defense
misses
17.
the Nerf. So here's another circumstance where Evan's right that keeping battle charged up would have been really smart, because then I would have been able to countercharge off this dodge, and I don't.
Can you countercharge with the model you just charged with?
I could have if I'd kept battle charged, but I
so
did
dirty.
not. Yeah. So that's depth of the list that obviously Evan has that I don't. So I'm still stuck playing a fair game against Fyanna.
Yeah, that'd be so dirty because you just charge, you fail your charge, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I get to charge you again and try it again. That's really nice.
Yeah,
that's a sweet little tech.
And we mentioned earlier, you can countercharge when someone does an admonition move.
Yeah.
So
so you charge the admonition, he admonitions away, then you countercharge it.
And
you get 2 charge attacks.
You get 2 charge attacks.
You get 2 charge attacks. So you swing your first one to hit, let's say it hits, and you can swing another charge attack.
Yep.
What?
So my sentry at the top zone here moves up, positions so that it's got melee range on the Seraph, and it's got Proteus. So first attack I'm just gonna try to face bash Proteus some more.
Defense 14.
He is at that. I boosted to hit.
5-1-1 hits.
Or sorry. I don't boost to hit because Proteus is actually knocked down. The reason Tiberian didn't finish him is because my Tetsubo got the crit smite. I knocked him back, which is important because it removes the unyielding bonus. So the plan is that the elephant up top there is going to finish him. He really only gets 1 attack into the Seraph.
He just killed a proxy base.
Proteus.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, finished Proteus. Seraph gets to dodges out of my melee and a little deeper into the zone.
So how do you feel comfortable? You've taken 2 beasts off this turn, have you? You killed Proteus, you killed...
Yeah, I've killed Proteus. I've killed... it's really just Proteus that I've killed and most of the swordsmen, although that's a big portion of his armor cracking. And then I'm hoping the Bronzeback can maybe do some work. I was really hoping that the Bronzeback would get to charge Typhon and then do that cute countercharge trick that Evan talked about. So way back in the bottom corner, an unenraged Gladiator is charging the Nerf. So the unenraged Gladiator boosts to the Nerf, gets some reasonable damage in on him.
Ooh.
And Adam and I mark that up. So I buy an attack and boost to hit it. That one unfortunately misses. So again, another circumstance where battle charge would have made a lot of sense. The Nerf just dodges out of that Gladiator's melee range, and they use the leadership from the Bronzeback to remove a Fury from him. So now I have to use the Bronzeback to finish this Nerf, which is too bad because I would have liked to put a charge into Typhon, but that's okay. At this point, I will have killed several beasts.
And he's left with Typhon and Seraph.
Typhon, a Seraph, a couple of Forsaken, and a few Shepherds.
So like, yeah, like you almost have like a commanding lead already. It feels like you have a huge presence in the middle of the board with all your war beasts up. Maybe 1 or 2 injured, not many because you medicated at first start of the turn.
Yeah, I medicated most of them.
Your feet is up, so if he comes at you, there is defensive strike coming towards him.
Yeah, Evan, having played the matchup before, this is the post feet turn with my feet up. And
disgusting.
For Zaadesh, how do you feel? How does this look?
So, if you have a lot of unengaged war beasts, it's feeling pretty good. If you have Typhon in a position where like whatever is coming in that you want to potentially crit smite away, or just put a ridiculously hard hitting chunk into them. And if Tiberian, for that matter, is in a good spot, then which he is here because he's
Up
near
the
the
board.
top of the zone,
Yeah.
and he needs to be dealt with.
But he doesn't have much to deal with. Like, Typhon can't get to him.
Over
Over a wall?
Typhon does not have Pathfinder.
Yeah, Typhon can't get to him.
Can't.
So, like,
It's possible that he could get slipstreamed by Fyanna and then walk in. That's a maybe, but
I almost feel like Adam's best bet here is to clear the bottom zone and put scenario pressure on and ignore your feet. Because you don't have countercharge up.
I don't have counter.
So, like, if he clears his zone and score 2 this turn with his caster, I feel like this is the only play he has. But then again, like, then you have 3 heavies coming in on Typhon, and I feel like he's just going to bleed it.
Yeah, that there is a little bit of awkwardness that if he does, like that forest actually makes that zone really relatively easy to contest.
Yeah.
So if he does what he has to do to clear the zone and sticks Typhon in the forest, maybe sprays to kill. I mean, he
doesn't
probably
even have
can't
to. You
kill
don't-
both
you don't-
beast handlers, but
There's only one.
yeah, there's only one
one-
properly contesting the zone.
Yeah, so there's only one in the zone that he has to do. Fiona could probably do it, and he still send Typhon in on a gladiator.
Sure.
Or-
Yep.
But then, like, when he sends in, there's defensive strike,
Yeah.
and he has to make sure he doesn't engage 2.
Well, he has
Beast.
to engage 2, or he gets countercharged by the bronze back,
There's no
who
ca-
has
oh, yeah,
countercharge
there- yeah.
all the time.
So yeah, so like,
And getting in on the gladiator is a tricky vector because he really doesn't have Pathfinder, and he has to kind of go
so
wide
that's
around the
2
forest.
defensive strikes he'll get.
So Adam is gonna try an assassination. We talk it through at the table, and Adam's a really great guy, good buddy of mine, somebody I really enjoy playing games against. Really technical Legion player with a great grasp of the game. So we're just talking about what the assassination is, and I'm like, I'm on 3 transfers. Do you think you got it? And he's like, I'm gonna try it because I feel like I'm gonna lose eventually. I can get some CPs, but I'm gonna lose eventually. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. So we determine that what he wants to do is multiple sprays from Typhon don't do the job because you can sack pawn sprays, which you can't normally shield guard, but he can't spray Zaadesh to the death with Typhon. So what he wants to do is he wants to charge Typhon into Zaadesh, which means he needs to get a gallows pull to pull me to the edge of the wall. But to get that gallows pull, he needs to remove a beast handler who's currently blocking the lane to Zaadesh. So Adam and I talk about this for a few minutes. He operated the Seraph, so it was well out of anyone's melee. And we decide that Seraph needs to get in the back zone, dial up some shots, and kill a beast handler. Provided that it kills the beast handler and does so through the 2 shield guards that are fairly nearby to it, Typhon is finally in a position to, with a good gallows, get all of his attacks in on Zaadesh. Which
Over a wall?
probably chew through my transfers. That's the hope, yeah. And unfortunately, it's going to have to be over a wall. So Typhon's
Mat 7.
Typhon's Mat 7, so he'll have to boost to hit. But he is 5 Fury.
He would eat a countercharge.
If he goes to the right vector, he'll engage the bronze back, so
So-
he'll take a defensive strike, which doesn't get the additional die.
Oh man,
It's not as bad.
Yeah.
doesn't I feel like this is like a out to the left field Hail Mary. Like,
Possibly. I mean, he gets the damage on the gallows, so that's worth something. That's a 1 POW 13. And then, yeah, it's, I mean, that's, but what you're going to see in a moment here is Adam and I just sit down and I'm like, what's the thing? What's your out? And he's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And we kind of talk about it. It's like, okay, so Typhon gets slipstreamed into Tiberian. And I'm like, okay, Tiberian doesn't defensive strike kill you. The sentry defensive strikes doesn't do much damage. Then does Typhon kill Tiberian? And we just kind of do the math again, check the range on the Agonizer, and he's like, nope, definitely don't kill Tiberian. So that's not great. So he's like, maybe Typhon comes up and sprays. Well, I can sack pawn all of those sprays to either Tiberian or the bronze back. So, and the other thing that's really awkward is when Typhon comes into that spot to try to kill Tiberian or the sentry, he has to also take a defensive strike from a beast handler who's going to put a fury on him, which I point out to Adam, which costs him a full attack.
Yep.
Disgusting.
So, the Zaadesh feat has it in theory, because you're doing so much on your opponent's turn, should have a kind of Haley 2 effect where it kind of just
You flip the table?
burns through. Not that. No. Where it burns through your clock because you effectively get 2 turns in a row. But it doesn't do that because your opponent takes so much time thinking about how do I properly mitigate the damage that you're going to do to me on my counter alpha. That's not a word. My counter strike here, right? Just
They use the term reprisal to refer to that sometimes.
reprisal.
How do you even English?
Shut up. But so normally like things that let you do stuff you're on your opponent's turn, because you do this every turn with a battle charged caster. You consider, do I want to countercharge here? Is this going to put me in a bad spot to get charged by other models, etc., etc.? But in this particular situation, they also just get hit if they come on too close anyway.
Yeah, the normal way to play around countercharge is to just engage a bunch of troops instead.
Yeah, like I mentioned
by all
before.
means, engage my shit.
Like, you just throw a whole bunch of troops, you engage. Oh, do you want to countercharge? No. Oh, guess what? I want defensive strike instead. Like,
It's bad.
and you defensive strike every single time a model comes, or is it a once per turn cost?
It's a once per turn ability,
Okay.
but everything has it.
Yeah, so you got countercharge once per turn, and you have defensive strike.
Yep.
But in this case, it's only defensive strike, so he actually doesn't even play around countercharge just on that one model, which
Yep.
I played against Evan a couple times now against this list, and he has countercharge and his feet up, and it's disgusting. Like, I chew through my clock. The first couple of games, I chew like 15, 20 minutes off my clock just trying to figure out what to do. And I realized, you know what I do? I just kind of stay back and just contest the zones, and like I'll take the charge the following turn.
Well, it's because the first time a lot of people play against this, I say, hey, here's my feat, here's what it does, read my card.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, whatever, fine. I'm like, cool, I feat. And then they play out their turn, and I'm like, okay, I charge this guy. I'm like, cool, Tiberian hits it, it's dead. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they move their second model, and that also dies, and then they just stop everything they're doing.
Yeah, then it's
And
like,
they're like,
oh,
I
shit.
have to rethink this completely now.
Yeah, there was definitely a time where I ran like Highwayman, just tried to engage him, and it was like defensive strike. Okay, I'll move away here. Oh, guess what? We'll countercharge you. I'm like, oh my god, like it was disgusting. But like,
Yeah.
oh, this list is well put together, and like it's not afraid from shooting at all. Like sack pawn everything to your war beast, then you heal
Yeah.
them up with medicate.
So
Sorry, just because Adam has finally started
Important
to
stuff.
execute his plan. A swordsman goes in to retaliatory strike range. A ping giver beast handler retaliates and kills it.
Okay,
Okay. So like that kind of looks like a nothing thing happened, but that's actually really relevant because Adam put a swordsman into position to unjam the piece he was trying to unjam, and said, "Do you want to use up your once per retaliatory strike on this swordsman?" And
defensive strike.
or pardon me, defensive strike. And I did because I think it makes sense in that circumstance to do that. So he removed my capacity to defensive strike something else going in, which could be the Seraph in a moment, could be the Forsaken. Right now he's measuring to see what he can get with a Blight Shroud, which importantly includes one but not both of the beast handlers that he's trying to remove. So I defensive strike with Tiberian against the Forsaken.
missed.
And actually missed. Tiberian at mat 9 rolled a 3. Yeah, needs a 4 to hit, rolls a 3. That's okay. It happens. So Forsaken gets the Blight Bomb, gets to roll a million dice against everything. Fortunately, the Bronzeback's leadership has dropped both of these beasts down to only 3 Fury.
I've had this happen to me so many times where like Tim or Craig or someone playing Legion just rolls hot dice with this and like kills a Mauler right out. Like it's disgusting.
Well, Maulers have 5 fury. He's only going to get 5 dice against me instead of 7. So I mean 5 dice is scary for sure, but it's not 7.
No,
So-
but like it's a scary ability that you kind of forget about.
We
a lot.
roll it out, and he does pretty reasonable damage to both beasts. Doesn't really cripple anything on them, but does good damage to them. Bombs the roll and doesn't kill the beast handler he's trying to.
Oh, disgusting.
So rolls pretty well against the beast, rolls terrible against the beast handler, which is unfortunate because I think that beast handler is a pretty essential part of his plan to.
Yeah, he needs to remove it,
Zaadesh.
right? Like that's like the plan here. Remove the beast handler so he can get the charging and
Yep.
guys pull whatever. Like, it's just insane.
So Adam is activating the Seraph. So there's a couple of things that are complicated about the Seraph's move. First of all, it has to avoid free strikes, a couple of free strikes from some beast handlers, and we measure it out, and he doesn't quite have enough movement to avoid both free strikes. So he's going to end up taking 1 free strike and 1 defensive strike from a different beast handler, not the one who's already defensive struck.
Which will add 2 fury
It very well could.
If they hit.
Yeah.
if they hit. Okay, cool.
They have to roll. One of them is rolling a 5. The other one's rolling also a 5 because Adam's positioning such that it's in his back arc.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah. So
That being because defensive strike makes them mat 7, and then you're also getting back strike bonuses on both, so it's effectively 9.
yeah,
Against Sarah, which is defense 14.
yeah. The thing is, he's not probably going to be able to force it all. Like I think he's out of Fyanna's control area, and I don't think it's his plan to be able to force with this beast.
Force of Fury.
I think he's just trying to.
Second
I don't do much damage with
damage.
either of the attacks.
Second
think he's just trying to use
one
it to
hits,
remove
Force
the
of
beast
Fury. So now he's on 2 Fury, or is 3 possible.
Yep, and does a couple of points with that attack too, and then that Seraph is going to just try to melee attack, kill a beast handler.
I'm assuming front arc.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Hits
he
and kills.
Hits and kills a beast handler.
So that's basically all you want. He just needed it dead, though, right? So
Yeah, he's trying to open up a lane. He moved such that he was behind Zaadesh and not engaging Zaadesh, so he's not giving me a in melee bonus. So now he's thinking like, when I move my spell martyr there, what's the vector on which that spell martyr needs to be to open up a gallows?
okay.
So he moves the spell martyr in. Spell martyr is on the right angle to pull Zaadesh to the wall. So now he needs a bit of a lucky gallows.
Defense.
Zadesh's defense 15.
Fury 6.
She's a 6, so she needs a 9.
Okay. Cost of Gallows
Is
is
3. Is 3.
Cool.
This is going to be a 4 fury investment. We'll see.
And sorry, how far did he need to roll on the gallows for this to work?
Basically a 3.
Okay.
So it's kind of a 50-50. Sorry, he's got a 66% chance.
So he
of this
hits.
working. So he rolls and hits the gallows.
He pulls you enough.
He pulls me 3 full inches.
Wow.
Exactly what he needs to pull me. Gets me right up against that wall.
So you still get the wall bonus.
Yep.
Not knockdown though.
Nope. The gallows does not knock down.
Just pulls you. Right?
We proxy Tiberian here, so it's easier to make that gallows measurement.
Wow, this is all in or nothing. Like I think he's at like 25 minutes on his clock right now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he
He's
spent
he's
25
spent a
minutes
lot of
on
his
this
clock on
assassination.
this
So
turn.
if he doesn't get this assassination, it's over. Either by scenario or clock. Like either way you think
Yep.
about it.
Boosts damage on the gallows. Does a good chunk to me.
You took it.
I transfer it.
Okay.
I'm now on 2 transfers. So the plan is now spell martyr removed from the table. He's in position to charge me with Typhon. This is the moment where Adam gets a little greedy. And he's like, all the damage we want to put in matters. I'll charge you with Fyanna2.
Oh no, countercharge, isn't it? That's what's going to happen?
John's like,
I'm sorry, I haven't
this
seen
is
it.
the part in the
Oh!
movie where I know he dies. No, don't do
No,
it. Don't open
I
the
know.
door.
I don't
The
do
killer's
it.
right there.
You miss. But that's
But that Brown's
basically
back.
game.
Blocks the lane to Zaadesh, which is not good.
He just forgot he had countercharge himself.
Yeah, I mean, problem is you play around it. I mean, we talked about it earlier this game, or this turn. In point of fact, it was and then Tiberian comes in and I'll stay out of your retaliatory strike range. I'm like, well, the bronze back will countercharge you if you do that. And it's like, okay, then I should engage the bronze back when I go to attack him with the wall. And we talked about it a couple of different times, and it wasn't doing it.
So
So
all the
he-
hard thought out math for the assassination,
Yep. Forsaken kills a beast handler.
and he scores 1 in the zone.
He does. He scores. He's
Woohoo!
up on scenario.
That's what I said. We should have in front. Just go up 2 and hopefully play from behind.
Yeah, it's
But either then, it's gonna be a grind. That would just take 25 minutes of wasting the clock and grinding it out because you have so many pieces that he can't take away.
yeah.
I would have loved to see the assassination attempt. I would have loved to see what the chance of it was.
So Typhon goes into the bronze back. Bronze back makes a or a defensive strike.
Misses.
Doesn't hit. My defensive strikes have been super on this
Oh
game.
yeah, you hit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he does hit because I forgot the bronze back is at 7,
at
goes
7.
to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he actually does hit with a 4, and Typhon takes a chunk of damage. Still fine. Typhon's a boss. Make some attacks. Typhon's going to be boosting damage because the bronze back is still inviolable or resolved, so he's armor 21. He's not in the agonizer range, so he's dealing with, dice minus 4.
Oh, Aggie.
But he's just rolling dice now. Like this is sad. Sad to see it that way. He planned all this out. He had a lot of things he had to go through to get to it and get the chance of winning.
Yeah, it was
And,
a real Rube Goldberg. He had a lot of moving parts in it, but I mean, he executed nearly every.
I was gonna say
component of
almost
that correctly.
perfection, except for the greed.
The slight greed.
So what? He was going to hit your caster with his
She's
caster.
a 4-inch melee.
Yeah. So, but her rat is what? Or
Well,
she is mat 7.
and he had 1 fury, so I think he was gonna boost to hit to get that crit smite, which
would have pushed you away.
knocked me into my own beast and knocked me down. Maybe that was the play. I would have had to look at the angle again. I didn't have much time to look at it because I just got tunnel vision on. Oh my god, a bronze back's gonna charge your face.
Yeah, well, makes sense.
Yeah,
You're rolling for frenzies.
frenzies. Yep, I make some threshold checks. The gladiator ends up charging Tiberian in the butthole, and actually does a couple points of damage to him. So Tiberian's gonna have a chat with him later. Chat in the form of a Ditsubu.
How dare you, slack!
Otherwise, pass my threshold checks.
And now you just activate one model and
Well,
shoot through his caster.
It's not totally trivial. I mean, Fyanna does have dodge, like not just on her feet turn. She has it all the time. So I'm probably gonna unpack some pieces first.
Box her in.
Shut up, Evan.
You put counter charge up, dodges and charges again.
Well, I'm gonna medicate the bronze back because Tiberian did a good chunk of damage to him.
Typhon.
Typhon did a man. Why can't I do this?
You guys are both like
labeled
just
character beasts today. Yeah. So Typhon did quite a bit of damage to the bronze back, so I'm gonna medicate him, and then Tiberian is gonna probably try to see if he can't knock Fyanna down with a crit smite. So I'm gonna just poke the Seraph over there. See if I'm unlikely to clear this zone, but I figured I'd put a couple points into it. See if I can get 1 point on the board for the sake of tie breaks. And then do what I can against Fyanna.
So yeah, you were definitely in command from the start of the game. It felt like him feeding first kind of just puts him behind because then you just counter feet and then
I don't think he has a choice though. I think he really just loses so many pieces.
don't you? Does he out-threat you though? Like
So the bronze back here does a power attack headbutt. That's what I decide to lead with. I boosted a headbutt and now I'm buying attacks against her because I want to knock down so I don't have to worry about the dodge. And I kill her in 2 attacks, shake hands, and that's the game.
Headbutt. Especially lethal thanks to hard-headed?
Is the bronze back hard headed too?
Yeah.
Nice. Man, Skorne beast. So many rules.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget. So this is a little bit of ancillary content from us, as we mentioned at the top of the commentary here. This is a video recorded in Kingston at their Scorned Goose tournament, which was held in January, and we had a lot of fun.
The Kingston Gaming Nexus.
Yeah, Kingston Gaming Nexus, really great space, really awesome store. I would totally recommend checking it out. We've gone there a handful of times and really enjoyed our time there.
thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, and please subscribe to our channel. If you have a comment or you want to share some feedback about this kind of content, this is in addition to the regular Battle Report and Challenger series we've been doing. So we'll be releasing these on a different day of the week. And yeah, if you want to see more kind of content like this, please let us know in the comments below.
Follow us on Twitch.
Yeah, we are also, as mentioned before, we will be doing a series of video casts starting on, I suspect it's March 5th we're actually going to start.
That's
the
the
tentative
current tentative date.
Yeah, we'll have more information about that as things come to light. But if you follow us on Twitch, you'll get information about that as it becomes available. Thanks a ton, guys, and have a great day.